Peace, baby. So it's done with dawning on change, with dwelling in my soft era. So I'm so excited about this next guest, y'all. This is Darciea Houston. She specializes in permaculture and is a motivational speaker, a grant writer, and a powerful woman that focuses on Indigenous American farming practices. Okay, amongst many things. She is the founder and owner of Filthy Rich Nutrients, LLC, a for profit business. She is, girl, let me tell y'all something. It ain't much that my good sis don't do, okay? Let's see. I have here hip hop crop curriculum core. Now I have seen. I can't wait for you to talk about this because I've seen some of your posts about this, and this makes me so excited with my kids. Okay, she is also the president of the National Women in Agriculture Dallas chapter. Okay, and she also has a wonderful podcast that I was able to hop in and listen to for a bit called Wednesday Body Study. So that's just a few things, y'all, and we're gonna get into everything else here shortly. Thank you so much for joining us, Darcia.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. How you doing, sis?
I'm doing so well. I just am so excited. Just got back from a permaculture gathering of the nations event in New York and learned so much. And so implementation is getting ready to be so real, but it's internal first. So I'm
Yes.
so
There you
excited.
go. There you go. I can tell, girl, you are glowing. Y'all, so I met Darcia, I think it was yeah, it was whenever Saint was like super young. I met you
Yeah,
in 2020. Yeah.
yeah.
At Hey Healer. Shout outs to Kira. Shout outs to the Grow.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
um, Real ones know, honey.
Mhm.
And I remember Darcy. You actually the first time we met, you had came to one of my sit-in talks. It was us going into the new year of 2020, so it was actually the end of 2019.
Okay.
That's what it was. I
Are we
remember.
all sitting on the floor?
Yes, yes,
Okay. Yes, I
yes.
remember.
And I just remember Darcia having such a powerful and strong, like matter of fact presence. And that's something that I've always loved and appreciated about her as somebody who shares in a similar spirit. It's like, baby, no, this is what you get. Okay, it's nothing to play with. No confusion about it. Okay. And so I was always super excited anytime Darcia has a live or a talk or anything where I can kind of hop on even briefly, I try to get on because I know that it's going to be a word. So y'all are in for a treat today, and so I'm very thankful whenever we decided to come together and have this talk.
Yes, ma'am. I also been
So
watching you, and so I've been excited about your growth and the things you have going on. And I'm like, why not? Why
yeah, for real, that part, girl, that part. So excuse me, y'all. I've been out in the farm, so I'm a little everything.
not? Hmm.
Anywho, so I like to open it up always with this is dwelling in my soft era, but what does that like mean to you? How do you define softness?
Softness is creating an environment where you are in a relaxed mode. You can be in your feminine energy. And if your environment doesn't yield those things, you can't sit there. There is no
Mm,
place for you.
come on.
And so just, being on the highway on a regular basis, literally or not, just staying in my lane and keeping my distance allows me to be in my feminine. But
Mm-hmm,
constantly being in someone else's space and being challenged
mm-hmm,
doesn't
mm,
allow me to exercise that.
mm.
So yeah, it's creating that environment, and maybe that's why the jobs and the skill sets and the careers that I've it's one career, but it's just a lot of things.
Yeah.
It offers me the respect that I need to give in, and just be vulnerable.
There we go.
Same thing, but Yeah, just creating that environment to do so. You don't have that environment to do so, I don't think you can sit in that high of a empress place.
Yeah, I agree. I think, excuse me, as you were talking, some of the things that were coming in were, I love how you said staying in my lane, right? And that doesn't necessarily mean, I think people kind of get confused about that on a few different things. One, you think that that means you can only do and be one thing.
Right.
Like, no, you can be many things. We are many things, right? Especially as women. You know, if the fellas is watching this, just lean in, lean in. It's all right. But we are creators. We are many things. But it's knowing who you are and matter of factly being okay with that and saying, well, this is where I'm supposed to be, right? And leaning into that versus I think when you don't know that and there is a lot of confusion, you're all over the place, quite literally, and it gives off a frantic energy, and it's
Mhm.
very difficult for you to call things into your life whenever you are acting out of confusion and desperation, and just lack.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes, calling it in. That's why I wear an antenna all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yes, there we go.
Call
Yeah, I
it
know that's right. Call it in.
in. Yes. But
Because
also,
I think.
oh, go
Mm-hmm.
ahead, go ahead.
No, 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 you good.
I was gonna say with that highway, to add on to the highway, that's also a mentality to believe that you don't own the highway or the movie. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like it's your thing. So yes, in um holistic health or agriculture, permaculture, horticulture, whatever culture it is, I'm gonna jump in the fast lane because I got that. Cooking, I might get over one or two, because I have a certain expertise in a way that I cook. But put me with the engineers. I'm gonna pump my brakes all the way up. In that lane, because that's not my lane. That's where you shut
Yeah,
up and you learn.
yeah.
That's another
Come on,
divinity, You when
come
you
on.
know you're not in your lane, what are you doing? Why do you
Yeah,
have so much input?
yeah. Come on. You know where this finna be good, y'all. Y'all just go on here. This finna be a good word. I can already tell. But it put me in the mind of whenever you are trying to be everything to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes you out of softness. That takes you out of your feminine. That takes you out of your divinity. Because it's just impossible. You cannot be everything to everybody or even to just one person. Not for
Mm-hmm.
long, at least. Right? And that will have a season. I'll say, like, as a mother who has cultivated, nurtured life within the womb and then sustained it outside of the womb, right? You were that child's everything at one point. But baby, it can't go on like that. That's why we say it takes a village. But
Right.
we forget that the village aspect and mentality should be there long after that child is reared. Even with ourselves, we need a village. It takes a village. And so whenever you start trying to be everything to everybody, you reject other experts, you reject other creatives, because you feel like you just have to do it. And now you stressed. Now
Mm-hmm.
you tired. Now you're worn out. You can't discern what you should eat, when you should eat it,
Mm-hmm.
how you even should eat, because your nervous system is overloaded.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I so agree. Um, when you do not have the time to plan, we're talking about a society in Wednesday Body Study. What we're going over is that body in circulation, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm realizing through the participants in the classes that people shower just to wash dirt off. They're just jumping in to get clean, absolutely omitting the fact that this is your number one way to massage yourself.
Come on.
Waiting on your spouse or somebody or to pay somebody to do what you have the ability to do while
Mm-hmm.
in water,
Come on.
listening to water,
Come on.
oils for aromatherapy, salt at the feet. What are you do? Why do you waste this water and this opportunity in your sauna to jump in and jump out just to get clean to go where to do what. We've got
Mhm.
to prioritize, you know,
Come on.
that ability to love on self.
Yeah.
You could something's clogged, right away when it gets, clogged or whatever. You can
Mhm.
maybe do it.
Mhm.
You can do that.
Come
But
on.
you gonna wait until your arteries get all stiff and whatever, and then you want to take
Yeah.
some. See,
You about to make me mad. Yeah, I feel it.
no, your shower is for you to wash
Yes.
in between them toes and all of that to touch you.
Come on.
But we're misconstruing what is possible for the day. You know,
Mhm. Oh, come on.
how to break. How do you
Come on.
break? When you take a break, do you go get your phone? You got to call such and
Mhm.
such. You got to order this. You got to run to the car and do that. Why can't your break be for you to reset?
Yeah. That put me in the mind of oh girl, you just gave a whole word with the shower. You really did. My my partner, my fiance, and I, we talked. And he was like, I don't know nobody to be in the shower like you be in the shower. I just don't. And I was like, and baby, and it don't matter what's going on. Guess who's gonna be in the shower? Me, moi, your
Mhm,
girl. And I
mhm.
remember when my sons, when the twins were born, they have hypothyroidism, and it was congenial. We didn't know that until like maybe 4 or 5 months in. And they would, when I tell you, cry and scream nonstop. And a lot of times you hear things about, I'm a doula as well, and you come there are mothers who are like, I haven't showered in days, I haven't been able to shower because the baby won't stop crying. Anytime I set the baby down, they'll cry, and they'll this and that. Baby, when I tell y'all would get them babies they milk, they they was off a tap. Soon as you get full drinking off tap, soon and your belly is full, your diaper has been changed, and you are well. You're getting settled in because mommy got to get in that shower. I have to. If I don't do nothing else, I got to do that. And
Mhm.
like you say, it's so spiritual. Just the practice of allowing water to run over you,
Mhm.
allowing yourself to deeply inhale and exhale in the presence of water, or even in the bath, being
Yeah, I was just
submerged.
gonna
It's
say
so
the bath too.
spiritual.
Yes.
It's so spiritual and it's so necessary. And I think that, like you say, it's, excuse me, you got folks online saying you don't even have to shower every day. You have actual dermatologists telling people that. And I was talking to my sister and my best friend, and I said, and that's why all these people are crazy.
I mean, wingworm and all these things that live on the skin. They was just talking about surface, coronavirus.
Corona's right. Right now, we don't have to say that. That is crazy.
Wash your hands. If I don't gotta wash
Right.
my behind every day, what makes you think I gotta wash my hands every 10 minutes?
Hmm.
Stop sending these
And it's
niggas.
like such a contradiction.
Yes.
Right. But I said, and the reason that, like, I'll be in that shower a couple of times out of the day, a few times some days. And excuse me, and I always say, and after I shower, I use my oil. I take my time because nothing is pressing, and nothing ain't nothing never been that pressing in my life where I have not been able to do that for self, because I understand the lymphatic drainage. I understand the need. I understand the I was able to shrink my uterus back. Girl, my stomach was on flat. And that's not on no snapback. It's because I was massaging myself. It was because I was being in tune and in touch. So before anybody can tell you like, oh, you have a lump here. Oh, I already knew that.
Hmm.
I'm in tune, and you have to do that. Like, you have to be, I think, self-aware in order to be in softness. So I think that you're so spot on with that.
Yes, ma'am. That's just one thing. Also to be aware of who is who and what they bring to the table.
Hmm.
You know, they always do this. Well, why y'all always kicking it?
Hmm.
That
Come
gotta
on.
go. That gotta go.
She said, go.
Mhm. Yeah, that's got to go. If you can't get along, you cannot make it, or something just triggers you. you're not going to sit in your best self.
Yeah.
So that's what it all in totality: environment, our internal environment, external environment, and what you're trying to create for the
Hmm.
future.
Yeah. And yeah, the boundaries. I
Mhm.
love that. I think we sleep on a lot of things because we don't really understand what it is, right? I saw this video on TikTok where this beautiful woman, Lord have mercy, she was stunning. And she was like, we have to be more serious about preserving our physical beauty. And girl,
Mhm.
I said, let me open up my ears because you are stunning. And one of the things that she had mentioned was what you said. If people are like not respecting your boundaries, I'm
Yeah.
not even gonna get mad at you. I'm just gonna let you go. Like, why do I have to be upset? Why do I have to be reiterating something that I articulated very clearly to you initially? Why do we have to keep revisiting this? Like, it's no need.
Mhm.
And one of the things she said was that years don't age you, people age you.
Mhm.
Stress ages you.
Mhm.
And I said, baby, that's a word.
Mhm.
That is a word. And I think when we just become more serious about honoring ourselves and not betraying our hearts, um, we can lean into that and accept it. I think we've just gotten so far away from that. Well, I can't even say we've gotten far away from it. I don't think it's something that we've really had a lot of knowledge of just because of our history here, particularly, so it's something that we're learning and unlearning. And so I think that, like you said, oh, they always do this now. Well, baby, why are you always there? That's
Right.
really the question.
Why do we always have strep throat in the winter?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you always have gas after you eat X, Y, and Z?
Mm-hmm.
You know these things, but you are willing to accept the consequence because that's the immediate consequence, not
Yeah.
knowing or believing or entrusting
Mm.
that these
Mm.
consequences will build up and there will be
Yeah.
a grander consequence
Mm.
to
Yeah.
this neglect for self.
Yeah. I
So
agree. I agree. What are some of the things that you do, excuse me, to make sure that you're honoring your environment and your boundaries and being in your lane? How do you remain, accountable to yourself?
um, I plan a lot for me. Um, so I'm very interested in knowing exactly what I'm looking for and the experiences I want to have. I'm very intentional about that. So I think clarity had to be, that was very imperative for me to learn who I was.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
you have to relearn that because you're not
Hmm.
who you were at 9 or 10
Come
when you have recognition of this, or when your body changed for your cycle. And then, you have to keep meeting yourself. And if you sell yourself short to who you were in your 20s or your 30s,
on.
then you're now disproportioned in this, happiness. I can't go and say, I want to have a job that I'm going to make this amount of money on because this particular amount of tax bracket that I would want to make would require
Mhm.
I marry that job when I'm
Mhm.
in love with my children, and what could be and the experiences we could have, and the chess club at the library or genealogy learning, whatever. I know clearly that I do
Mm.
not want that lifestyle.
Come on.
I know that I have to be outside under the sun of God, sun, as in Sunday, sun, not son. And I'm also very clear about that, those trigger words and those things, within this universe.
Mhm.
So I also am very in tune with the moon day,
Mhm.
Monday. So once again, very intentional, but because I need to do those things, my career cannot be opposition because
Mm.
I'm living my purpose in life. And
Come on.
all doors will be open because it's my purpose. So
Yeah.
therefore, that's my lane, and that's where I
Mm.
get the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
however I choose to move, I
Yeah.
feel very confident as being whole. Like my head ain't there,
Come
my
on.
actions ain't here, my feelings ain't over there. You know,
Right. Right.
it's all together, and I'm able to plan. I say, damn, I know that that job looks so cool, but I'd have to be around white people and all these other people all day. That's gonna stress your girl out. Hell no. Nope. Would rather be around children, which is why when I had to stay still, I did open up a daycare. But I'm also an entrepreneur, and I know that. I know I can make
Right.
money in multiple ways. However, I know that all of my gifts and talents when I'm on a job are never going to be monetized on, at least out here in these streets when somebody needs me to cook a plate and then all of a sudden, diagnose their car and then I'm
Right.
playing, I'm on the phone talking to you for an hour getting your life together. Now that consultation fee,
Right.
'cause I get that too,
Right.
so and if somebody needs some videography and photography, or maybe the
Mhm.
elders need to go bingo night, whatever it is, I just want to
Yeah.
be there and be able to monetize. But if I'm doing all of that as a community worker for your organization, I'm
Come
not
on.
getting there, and I'm going to be dissatisfied because I'm not
Right.
fulfilling anything. I'm not empowering anybody. I can't stay and talk to you as long as I want to, and we can't
Mm.
just build and all of a sudden collectively come together. If I was working a job, I would never been able to, meet you and be a part of Hey Healer and
Yeah.
all the retreats and the things that we've done.
Yeah.
Just all the people we healed during COVID,
Mm. Mm.
you
Come on.
just to be there for that. That's where I'm lived.
Yeah.
That's life to me. I
Right.
don't want
Yeah.
to go just hand out, go donate some blood and go volunteer at this raggedy urban farm that ain't really for us, and then go over there and feed the homeless and feel so well rounded. No, I don't.
Mhm.
That ain't what that's not an experience to me.
Right.
So that's my answer to that. Long winded, but yeah.
Yeah. No, girl. Um, I was getting chills as you were talking. Whenever you said, like, I have seen jobs or work where it's like, oh, that would be cool, but it's going to take me, it's going to take me outside of myself and not really going to feed or serve me in the way that's going to help me feed and serve others. That's what I was getting. And excuse me, I think we live in so many. It's like it's. I don't want to say it's always, but I think in this country, things have always been uncertain for us, right?
Mhm.
And I think that the other demographics are experiencing that uncertainty with us now, and now it's like, oh God, the sky is falling. It's like, well, baby, we've been here before, you know. But with that comes like we kind of were talking about the desperation and the like. I just gotta grab something. I just need something to take hold of because I'm falling. And sometimes it's okay to fall, because the fall got to end at some point, and
Mhm.
then that's whenever you're able to pick up and discern what's needed and what's necessary and what ain't.
Yeah.
And so I just think it's so powerful to have that. This is why something that I've always admired about you is just that matter of fact. Like, no, it's some stuff I could be doing, but that's going to be too stressful. And it's
Mhm.
going to, then I'm not going to be eating right. Then I'm not going to be sleeping right. Then I'm going to be short with people and I'm not going to be. And I'm like, that's so powerful to just know that about yourself. And whenever you mention satisfaction, I think that people are not used to women talking about satisfaction in any way, right?
That is so true.
They're not. They're not. And so whenever you say like that's not going to satisfy my need, that's the wrong answer for other people, but so much it's the right answer for you and for everybody.
That is probably been a part of my problem terminology. Yes, that word has probably triggered a few people now that
Mhm.
you brought that to my attention.
Yeah. That's
Because
what it
when the
is,
going
girl.
gets tough, folks don't want you to, stick in it because they don't want to stick in it. They
Mm-hmm.
over, you know.
Yeah.
So that word satisfying is not like one you should use with like anybody that's like 45 and up.
Yeah,
Because
people
it's
that are not used to it like that.
what you want to do. It's about what you should be doing, so they think. But because
Right.
these I'm a Gen X, so we looking for to fulfill our purpose. Like we
Yeah.
already see what it feels like and looks like to be outside of who you're supposed to
Come
be.
on. Come on.
Back to now, I will get sick on this job because I will be under artificial lights all day. I will not have
Come
any
on.
kind of real wood or marble or brass or copper near me at all. Not a doorknob, not a handle.
Mm-hmm.
All our old furniture used to have these things. Why? Because they know we needed it.
Come on.
And then instead of hearing, the bell for the community to heal all at one vibration at certain hours, now we're hearing alarms and ding
Alarms.
are
Yep.
thrown off. And I'm in this space with Becky in them that I really, really do not like you wanting to know my personal business on a regular basis, you know.
Yep.
So and now I have to pay for an insurance plan because I can't be out here just walking in the grass like I'm supposed to, and or eating the dandelions that I'm supposed to, or just harvesting the whole garden that you have that you didn't even plant. The birds did for you.
Right. Come on.
So yeah,
Come
I
on.
think it's a disproportion. I agree with you 100% that if I were to fulfill this financial obligation, I will be way more just in a deficit in my health and wellness, my
Yeah.
spirituality, my mental, and my physical health will all
Yeah.
decline.
Yeah. I was talking to this is so powerful. Um and I think that it's just not unusual right now in these times to meet people in a deficit,
Mhm.
right? And whenever a lot of times you are in a deficit, unless you're going through it and you're navigating it with the wisdom of like, this is temporary, everything has its season, and spring is coming. But whenever you are in situations and you are not aware of that, how dangerous, how it can become a slippery slope, right, for you and for the people that you are attempting to call into your life or whose life you're attempting to walk into. And so whenever you had mentioned earlier, like, having the right people around you, I think sometimes we get caught up in situations where we meet people that are in a deficit spiritually, you know, physically, emotionally, and they're not doing anything about it. But because they see you as light, as life, as peace, as the things that you are and the things that they want, and maybe hope to attain one day, they're drawn to you, and then you just be in love and light and everything else, people don't realize like when you are operating like in light, just like the sun, it's gonna raise everything up. Everything is drawn to it.
And it's not on your time.
Yep. And so not realizing or having the discernment to recognize when people are operating in a deficit and making yourself too available to them in those in that season of their life when they have to navigate and learn to navigate excuse me. It takes you outside of yourself. Now you stressed out about something that wasn't even yours to carry, you know. And so I think that's a problem that a lot of people have, women in particular, you know.
Mhm.
Truly.
Mhm. I really overstand, understand, and outerstand that picking up because a lot of times until I started working with soil and souls and Rev Dele and the breath, I didn't even know what I was carrying when I was carrying it.
Mm,
It's not until I know that I'm tense that I actually breathe and realize, okay, that was because that car almost hit me 15 minutes ago.
yeah.
When is the let go? And in my
Mm-hmm.
master's program, there was one thing that was so dope. I loved it. It was at University of Minnesota, and it was like holistic health and wellness coaching. And we had this device that would allow we would just touch it, and it would allow us like to know if we were in prosperous thoughts or if we were in negative thoughts.
Mhm.
And this was so important because the visual that the screen gave you was that, there was automatic like grass and, just a picture of a normal park, let's just say. And so at this park, if you were to touch this device and it, basically the mood ring, and it would, everything would start dying. Leaves would
Mm.
start falling, the grass would start, shriveling up, or whatever. And then the minute you were able to turn your thoughts around, it would, things would start to grow back.
Mhm.
And so my thing in holistic health or health and wellness, all of these ill people can be attracted to us, but at the same time, if I'm going to go do surgery on them or work on them or go to work on somebody's heart or brain, we all human. This person might be a great surgeon in their lane, but they might be horrible at the crib. you know
Come on. Come
they
on.
might not be right. Their kids could be flipping out and on
Mhm.
dope, whatever it is. But everybody isn't serene in this just because they're
Mhm.
serene. One thing, not they're not everywhere. So we need this doctor though to be
Yeah.
able to get through homeostasis and come to a situation to
Right.
turn this whole park again green before he
Mhm.
work on you.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
so any healer has to be able to, come in and come out of
Mhm.
those situations. But I
Yeah.
don't think the patients or the clients are actually seeing how when you do come with that negative energy, I'm
Mhm.
having to fight, a lot harder to get back to
Yeah.
homeostasis to even help you,
Yeah. Yeah.
if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
No, it does. It does. And even in the, I liken everything to an ecosystem. Even, the ecosystems that we find ourselves in, which is why, like, sometimes I've been saying here lately, it seems like a habitual thing that's been going on, like a theme with folks that are, that I've been talking to. It's like sometimes you just have to take your hand off of people, because
Mhm,
they don't understand how they're showing up and how it's affecting you, and that's okay. It's not to say that you're abandoning them. It's not to say that there's no love there, but we all have to be accountable for what we have to be accountable for.
mhm,
We all have to do our part for ourselves, and like I say, the other people that we show up for. So you could be, somebody that's, for instance, my sister. Now, obviously, my sister is in, this isn't the case. It's just an example. My sister is, one of the most important people in my life. Everybody that know me know that, right? But if my sister is out here doing some things that are affecting me mentally and emotionally and spiritually, and I still have to show up for my children that depend on me,
mhm,
like nobody else, and they're not anybody else's responsibility, then I would have to maybe create some distance or
mhm,
healthy boundaries with what I'm allowing myself to do with and for her, you
mhm,
know? And so I think that it's like sometimes people aren't aware of what they're doing, and you have to make them aware. But you also have to be okay with just saying, like, well, whether you know, make right on this or not, like, I know what I'm going to have to do regardless. And
mhm,
you have to settle into that and be okay
mhm,
with, what is. And
mhm,
I think that we, a lot of times, are not okay with what is. And so we try and dress it up and say, well, maybe if I do this, maybe if I do that. And you can't do more for people than what they want for themselves. You just can't. Child, been there, done that
mhm,
several
mhm.
times over. And I think for me, it's something that it's medicine that I've just had to learn. Like, your intention may be as pure as can be and beautiful, but you're making yourself sick now. Now, who's going to be your medicine? So,
Absolutely.
hmm
Put the oxygen on you first so
yeah, you have
that
to.
you can help others.
Yeah, you have to. You really do. And I think that they say that, right? We understand that in the physical sense, but in the spiritual and emotional sense, people don't understand that. And
Mhm.
then they criticize you for it. Just like you
Yeah.
said, they're not used to women saying, like, oh, no, this doesn't satisfy me, honey. You don't have to.
Mhm.
No, the answer is no. Or you don't have to stop that. That don't, They're not used to that. And they're certainly not used to women saying, even other women are not used to hearing that from other women. they will make you feel bad, girl. They be talking bad about women online that set boundaries.
Yeah,
Other
they
women,
do.
because they don't understand it
They do.
themselves.
That whole there has been so much talk about the 50-50, man and woman
Hmm.
going 50-50 with each other. And
Hmm.
that I was so excited to, be a part of watching everybody's reactions and responses to that,
Hmm.
because I don't think throughout time it's never felt right.
Hmm.
And I don't know who's hasn't been in a situation where somebody owes you so much and want to go half with you on anything, after
Hmm.
they owe you shit.
Come on.
So, um, that kind of progression, that kind of thought for women, it's
Hmm.
not there's a norm, there's a culture that's just being passed down to where there's just people don't know what golf stands for. Let's just say that. Gentlemen
Hmm.
only, ladies forbidden.
Hmm.
This division thing that
Yeah.
happens, and we subscribe to it as a culture. And
Yeah.
I think girls just pick up on it sooner because we have all the real tools like right away. Our kitchen set is
Yeah.
great. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go get
Hmm.
some from the bathroom and put it in there. But my
Hmm.
kitchen set are real. And I'm gonna put my
Hmm.
food in the oven too, so we can do things
Yeah.
immediate and
Right.
mimic. It solidifies things sooner for us versus the
Yeah.
boys playing with the car, not driving it. Like they
Yeah.
have some distance, excuse me, they have some distance. And I think that culture, puts you in your place, especially if you add the layers of um, extended family and religion and societal norms and clubs and associations, organizations. That just adds a layer of oppression, to you. It just doesn't
Yeah.
allow. It's not like, oh, I can just
Right.
be free and be me. No, I am in a
Right.
situation,
Right.
I'm in a relationship or a friendship, that is very
Hmm.
similar to everything that I know. And
Yeah.
I'm just running with it. And here I
Yeah.
am. Now I can't even say the word pussy, because that's
Right.
a woman don't say that. And so to
Uh-huh.
get rid of those people from around me, what I did was I created a whole organization called Garden for the Pussy. Just because if you can't say it and you don't want to be in it, then we ain't really supposed to be talking.
Then you ain't supposed to be here. Right.
Really not supposed to be friends, maybe not even business partners. I don't know.
Right.
But not to say that that's, the regular talk or
Hmm.
terminology, but I mean,
Hmm.
goodness, it is a word, boo boo.
Yeah.
And it's a description and it
Hmm.
matters. So just I think that people don't want to stay, and it's hard for women to
Yeah.
accept that especially if they're not the woman doing, or saying those things, it's like I'm not that type of woman.
Right. Right. Right.
And they've told me that too. Like, they'll listen to my whole conversation and everything and want to do more. And then I have to go on and let them know you're going to search the web and you're going to find Garden for the Pussy. You
Right.
know? So
Right.
that's a deal breaker.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Leaning into self hate. It's
Mhm.
not for, I think we've been taught like we have to be palatable for everybody. It's like, it's just not realistic. You may as well, this is what I say. You can't please everybody. So you may as well do what you want. Do what you've been called to do, because everybody's not going to approve. Everybody's not going to be happy with that. So why, censor yourself and your goals and your heart and how you show up? Why change that when, somebody gonna talk about you anyway? You
That
know,
part.
you lean into what you want to do, baby. Dress how you want to dress. 'Cause,
Mhm.
baby, even dressing how they dress, they gonna find a way to talk about you.
Makeup, no makeup. I mean,
Yeah, I was
I
thinking
guess
about that today.
it's so hard. I mean, people are like, oh gosh, you could wear makeup. Oh, you could be doing this. And people always stop me and be like, oh girl, I do hair.
People need to really get outside and touch grass. Because why would you say that to me? What you
I
trying to
can,
say?
I
Do
can
you want to
tighten
fight?
it
Like, do you fight too? Because girl, I do. I'm just kidding, y'all. That's not soft. That's not soft. That's not soft.
Yeah.
Like, what you trying to say? Yeah, and it's so powerful. I think even just like touching briefly on like physical appearance, I have my eyebrows are just my eyebrows. I ain't touched them in
Mhm.
like 15 years. This is what they
Right.
is. Whenever I'm out, and I get compliments on my eyebrows, but girl, whenever you in the nail salon, in the pedicure, or walking by one of them, let me clean it up for you. Let me.
Right.
I said, girl,
I love
no.
my eyebrow.
Like I like having a thin unibrow. It's okay.
Mhm.
it's I'm
Yeah.
fine with that. I like it. And
Mhm.
it's not nothing to. I always tell people, I love when women love the way that they look,
Mhm.
whatever that is. If you
Mhm.
have locks and you love your locks, I love that for you. If you are
Mhm.
a bald head, small head,
Mhm.
if you want to wear your bust down, that's fine. As long as you love the way that you look, and you know that regardless of any enhancement or anything like that, that you're beautiful and you're comfortable with that, I love that for you. I don't care.
Mhm.
So
Right.
leave me alone. Leave
Mhm.
me alone. Because I'm not imposing shea butter on you. I'm not
Right. I don't blame you.
imposing, you know, I'm not telling you that you don't need certain things. Like, so don't tell me what I need.
Mhm.
Funny story. Me and my fiance, we were at I think was it North Park. We were at one of these malls and we were walking past a skincare place, and I was like, "Oh, let me run in here and see what they got going on." I thought it was a tea place at first, so that's why I went in. And the man got so close to my face. He was like, "Yeah, you have some." He told me I have problems with acne. I'm gonna zoom. I'm gonna get close so y'all can see. Darcy, y'all know what I look like.
Right.
Y'all,
Never.
where? And I was thinking to myself, I laughed at him. I said, "Oh, you really think so? That's interesting." I'm like, I don't know. Maybe you can see the future, or maybe you can see something that I or nobody else sees. But I laughed and I went home and I talked to my sister, my best friend, about it. I said, this is extremely predatory
Mhm.
to say things like that to people who maybe have, problems with their self esteem or who are not
Mhm.
as self aware. That's how you get sold these products. That's how people are able to take you for a ride whenever they try and tell you something that you gonna really try and gaslight me and tell me I ain't got no good skin.
Right. Right.
Okay, sir. I just was like, all right, well, you have a good one. That was the end of that conversation because I'm like, now try and sell me. You can try to sell me a $90 product. I'm going to still tell you no, but be honest about it. You
Mhm.
see that I like to moisturize. I told you that. You could have just been like, this is the best moisturizer on the market.
Right. Right.
I might have been. I would have took a
Right.
picture
Don't
of it.
diagnose.
But don't misdiagnose. Like, that was crazy. But I was just thinking, like, I wonder how many young ladies come in here and, sit with him and he, well, yeah, you have this and I see some fine lines and just wild stuff that ain't there or that maybe is there, but, to embellish,
Mhm.
and I thought it was so predatory. And I really laughed. I said, boy, this man here is crazy.
Right.
And it's like that. Whenever you are not self assured, it's so easy to fall victim to things like that.
Yeah. It
So
just seems as if it can all come together when the palette is, or the idea is that my food is my medicine,
mm-hmm.
because then you're eating this because of, it helps with that. Or you're
Yeah.
using this because it does this for you, you know.
Yeah.
So I think that that's the number one way to get into anybody's heart, soul, mind is through food. And
Yeah.
once people really want to engage in real food and not fast
Come on.
food,
Come on.
then you'll realize what's happening to you throughout
Yeah.
the process and the time.
Yeah. Because you're feeding, your first brain, essentially. It's absorbed through the gut.
Hmm.
And people don't know that. And we just have so many unhealthy relationships with everything,
Hmm.
especially in the West. Have an
Hmm.
unhealthy relationship with food, with
Hmm.
your body, with how you view yourself, how you view that body. how you view others, have unhealthy relationships and unhealthy boundaries with, everything and everybody. And so it speaks very, you literally are what you eat,
Mhm,
and you are what you consume. And I truly believe how you do one thing is how you do everything, or at least many things, and it'll be everything at some point or another, because something got in here.
mhm.
But it'll be everything at some point or another, because you're only able to keep up for so long,
Mhm,
you know? And so I think that that's so true. Like, being aware of what we consume and how we consume it. I used to be somebody that I've always had a pretty healthy diet,
mhm,
regardless of what, but I used to eat so fast.
mhm.
So fast. Like, you would think, like, girl, like, what is going on? Is somebody going to take the food from you? That's how fast I used to eat. And it would make me sick. And it was because I had anxiety very bad, and so I would just do things like that, and it wouldn't make sense, and I would be so sick. And once I began to understand, I was probably like, it's probably maybe my junior or senior year in high school, once I realized, like, okay, eating like this is not, I'm like trying to, do things and chill or hang out, but I'm eating so fast that I can't even do that. Like, I'm making myself sick. And so I just kind of began to reassess why I was doing that. At that age, I didn't necessarily understand it was my anxiety, but because we weren't calling it that at that time, but I just knew it was something that I had to change, and I slowly began to change that. And so even now, whenever I see people eat super super fast, I'm like, slow
Mhm.
down, and I have to catch myself, whenever I'm going through an episode of anxiety. um and so I think, like, that self-awareness is just so key whenever you are um you know doing or just dwelling in anything.
Yes, I agree, but I also challenge the audience and, just many different ideologies around why we are doing that. Why are we, hovering? Why do we actually think that, or why was there ever an opportunity to
Hmm.
hurry up and eat? And
Come
let's
on.
talk about social norms, because starting all the way from the time that I give my child to a daycare facility,
Yeah.
there is a schedule,
Hmm.
and that schedule has to happen based on how many children, the operation, the requirements of
Hmm.
the institution, all of what they have to
Yeah.
do as far as when the meals can be out, when they can't, how much they have, all of that. And so when that child is ready to socialize instead of eat, that food is taken from that child.
Yeah.
So upon 2 to 3 years old, you're really, really understanding, maybe even one, that
Yeah.
if I don't do something at the time you want me to do it, then I
Yeah.
won't have it when my body is in reservation or when my body needs it. So that's
Right.
the one thing. But then there's also that moving through and your children getting in trouble at lunchtime for even talking.
Yeah.
So they're also reinforced and penalized if they have
Hmm.
a conversation, take breaths, maybe
Yeah.
you can't exchange food, there's no community.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you get to an actual, what's the actual diet? We talk about, oh, McDonald's, y'all shouldn't be taking y'all kids here. Y'all shouldn't be taking y'all kids there. Fast food, fast food. I got a hard heart for fast food, even though I
Hmm.
still eat some of it. I do
Hmm.
have a hard heart, but I also have empathy for that industry. And
Come
why?
on.
Because the school system in our states and our government have forced us to eat the school meal, these meals, and made
Yeah.
it impossible for you to actually bring your own food to where it's safe for you to
Yeah.
consume it, at a timely manner in the way you want, or have omitted actual cooking in the
Hmm.
commercial kitchen, more preparation. But of what? Chicken nuggets, chicken sandwiches, hamburgers, fries, pizza,
Hmm.
sandwiches, all of these foods. Now, why does McDonald's exist? Because your child been eating damn near burger and fries every day for I don't know how long. That's why McDonald's
Hmm.
always gonna exist. Subway
Right.
always exists, not only because they're in the high schools and at all of the colleges. When you get your little
Hmm.
refund check and everything, they right there. But the
Yeah.
fact is, you've been eating hoagies your whole damn
Yeah.
career.
Excuse
All of
me.
these restaurants are only mimicking what societal norms have been when we were assimilated, into this
Yeah.
society. This
Uh-huh.
is 3 meals a day for what? When I'm out
For
here in
what?
these
Right.
need like a smoothie in the morning and actual lunch or a big lunch
Hmm.
and breakfast for
Yeah.
dinner.
Yeah.
I'm not looking, we're just, and then all these commercials and everything. So we got to go here, we got to go there. We can't shower, can't massage yourself, can't get to know
Come
yourself,
on.
and you can't eat. And now you
Yeah.
wonder why you can't boo boo, you can't shit.
Come on. Yeah. Yeah.
So now you are harboring, you walking around like waste management
Yeah. Carrying.
with all this body bath and body. Everything
Mm-hmm.
got to smell good because you
Yep.
trashy.
Yep.
So it's
Carrying.
that cycle of back to the big dollar. What that money was gonna bring me.
Yep.
Here's the example.
Yep. So true. Whew. It's a system that has thrived.
When I get a chance, another thing
Mhm.
on what you were talking about earlier, when we were talking about our foods, but what we eat when we eat, and you were leaning into your eating fast.
Mhm.
The other thing is just how disrespectful Americans are. You brought it to the West because yeah,
Mhm. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
okay. So how disrespectful we even are. How dare we? And I am an avocado freak. Like I'm addicted to avocado. Like I you know what I'm saying? All the time. You ain't got no avocado. Like we gonna have
Right.
I'll bring my own,
Right.
right? That's
Right.
how much. I like it. But I'm also disrespectful in that because it's not a seasonal crop all the time. And these
Yeah.
we're actually penalized. Like people are working like dogs and slaves and not getting
Yep.
paid and everything behind our demands with
Yep.
things that
Come on.
we can't grow in our
Come
are
on.
not in our season. So we can be the greatest people in the world and we can eat the healthiest and we can go to church and we can do all of these things. But
Come
our
on.
demand for certain things
Yeah.
also puts us in the doghouse.
Yep. So true. I think that's why one of the things, getting acquainted, I want to encourage the audience to get acquainted with your local growers, local farmers, people that see what you can purchase locally. Because, like you say, why are we like funding slave labor essentially? So we can have an avocado out of season or a strawberry out of season or whatever, when we can honor nature and the seasons as intended, right? And work with low and support local growers. Maybe it's out of season, but maybe they'll grow it in a greenhouse for you
Mhm,
for the demand.
mhm,
And then we're not funding slave labor. Um, and it's so many things. It's so many things and it's so many layers. And I think sometimes people, you hear these things and you can get overwhelmed. Don't get overwhelmed. Just know that you can only do what you can do, but do it.
mhm,
And if that's the first thing you can do is go to some of these, like I say, these local farmers markets. Go to some of these local grocery stores that are growing some of the things in the back. They got a greenhouse in the back. Get acquainted, ask questions. Form community, join a community. It's all a part of it. We have been, especially like I say, on the West. It's just some things you just are not aware of because of how we've been socialized, because of how things have intentionally been hidden
mhm,
and pushed and swept underneath the rug. That's all intentional. I always say to people, ain't nothing an accident here. It's just not.
mhm.
Okay. And so it's like, while you may not be responsible for that, that's totally fine. But what can you lean into now that you know? So we know better. So let's do a little better.
Yeah. In recap, we can definitely shower and bathe
Come on.
in a way that is
Come on.
going to benefit you. You're paying the bill, you're paying the light bill. Just get some essential oil, some eucalyptus, some tea tree or something, and throw it in there, some cedar wood, and make it your sauna.
Yeah.
Do that. And then when you
Mhm.
break, maybe take time to breathe. Breathe to
Yeah.
break to breathe.
Yeah.
So that right there. And then also be conscious of what it is you're eating. because a lot of times we're
Come
feeding
on.
our dis-ease. We're not feeding,
Yeah.
we're like, oh,
Come
I
on.
gotta have, we're craving things, but that could be a nutrient deficiency or it can be parasites.
Come on. What's that? A worm.
Yeah. So,
Child.
those are some tangible things. Like Don said, get into the community. Go figure out. It don't have you don't have to know everything. You don't have to your whole
Yeah.
meal tonight don't have to be from natural and organic farms. You can go
Mm-hmm.
get the onions.
Yeah.
Put the onions on your taco, your nachos. You
Yeah.
somebody got some cilantro. Go ahead and snatch that too.
Yeah.
Oh, you gonna see some tomatoes. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying go in there and get the taco shells. You know you like mission. Just do what you do, but just add in things and
Right.
eventually your salad might be
Yeah.
local or you might grow it. Eventually.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But
That's
right
it.
now, I only
Mm-hmm.
have arugula. I only have, some peppers. I got eggplant. I got green
Mm-hmm.
onion like crazy. I got garlic. I got
Yeah.
all kinds of herbs. But that's all I can do right this second. So everything else, I'm trying to see what it do. And then you want to get the. Why don't you want to know the plug?
Right.
Know who the egg lady is. Like she
Yeah.
just like you. She need the
Yeah.
bread. She need the eggs. Come through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tangible things.
Exactly.
We didn't
Tangible
talk over
thing.
your head. It's tangible.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
dark, toxic people. You stay dark and toxic and get lighter and lighter and lighter. Gather your brightness. And you
Mm-hmm.
bright people don't dim for the dark people. Not
Yeah.
skin, but I'm talking about,
That's good.
internal,
Right.
spiritual.
Yeah. Power. Well, on that note, I love how you ended it,
Hmm.
baby. People that are dealing with spiritual toxicity, step to the side and navigate through that. And people that are navigating in lights, make sure that you don't dim yourself in hopes to do anything for anybody wrestling in their darkness, because that's for them to do. So, well, how we feeling, Darcy? This was good.
We're feeling good. I'm excited. I have a request to be on other, podcasts this year.
Yeah,
To do more visually. So if you know
yeah,
anybody or if you can refer me to anyone to, just have open conversation
yeah,
regarding whatever topic.
yeah.
And yeah, just inviting people to Wednesday Body Study. Look for Darciea Houston, author.Darciea Houston or Major Melanin.
Period. We will, and we will definitely put all Darcia's links in the bio and in the description. So that way, I said the bio in the description. So that way, y'all are able to make sure to keep up with her journey, keep up with her podcast. And if you have a podcast out there and you want Darcia on, make sure to definitely reach out. We want to thank you, Darcia, for being an amazing guest. This conversation was it was truly everything, girl. And one thing I will say, I'm so thankful for everybody that's been a part of these conversations, because it has truly ministered to me each and every time. And that's why it's like I've been very particular about who I've been asking to come on, because I want it to truly be ministry and not just two people just talking. And I think that with every conversation, people are truly getting the medicine that they need. And I know I am, child, so I appreciate
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, you helped me definitely with terminology. People off.
rubbing them the wrong way, girl, but it's all right.
Woo! Bring it on.
Mm,
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
it's all
Thank you.
right. Thank
Have
y'all. Be well.